for the love of God and all the human race, share this video with as many people as you can. This video is 10 minutes long, but it's a compilation of rabbit holes from this conspiracy of this Black Hawk helicopter and the airplane crash that you're gonna need to see. You tell me if these are all conspiracies, because I promise you that they do not end. I promise there's more than this. Watch this video till the end, skim through it if you have to, share this video with as many people as you can for the good of humankind. This is, without a doubt, proof of what they're doing, and it's time for us to finally do something about it for real.
You see right here, the Black Hawk helicopter is damn near hawking the plane down, and then they collide. Okay, what really strikes me about this is CNN posted that this happened 6 hours before it actually happened. And what's funny to me is, if you remember, I remember that before the Maui fires happened, somebody actually created a book a day before it happened. It just seems like these events are more so planned than anything. For the ones that's thinking, okay, who would actually plan getting in the plane and risking their life for something like this? Let's talk about how Lockheed Martin actually has autonomous Black Hawk helicopters. What does autonomous mean? Autonomous is performing without humans.
I knew it was something about that crash. Let's get into it. 5 hours before the crash happened, how the fuck did Wikipedia even know about it to post about it? So last night they said 4 individuals has been rescued and transported, right? How is that even possible? Which is 48 minutes ago, the Washington Post just now posted this. No survivors from the DC plane crash. Huh? How, when there were 4 individuals from last night was rescued and transported? It's just some things ain't adding up. And then it said the plane landed 50 minutes ago. 50 minutes before the crash. Also, this another thing I caught. They say it was none of whom were senior Army officers. Hold on. Is y'all sure about that? Because the Black Hawk apparently did not have on its transponders, and it was designated as a PAT, a priority air transport, which means it was high-ranked, senior-ranking military officers on board.
The most recent plane crash was a ritualistic Freemasonic incantation sacrifice for the Super Bowl. Now, all this is based on the numerical spectrum of the Freemasonic order, because 33 is basically the embodiment of a Freemasonic number, and 33 is connected to a form of the Black Nobility Eagle that is equated to the Philadelphia Eagles, that is basically the symbology of patriarchy. You cannot also negate the fact that the airplane took off on runway 33. Now, this is also esoterically connected to the number 13, which is a matriarchal number. Now, 13 is also working in tandem with the Chiefs, because it's connected to the indigenous people that was connected to Turtle Island. So you got plane 64 crashing the helicopter number 3. So you take 6 plus 4 plus 3 equals 13, which is the embodiment of a matriarchal number. Now, one thing you got to understand about the technology of Black Hawk helicopters is that they're able to fly on an autonomous level because it came from the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency that works in tandem with artificial intelligence. So that means that a Black Hawk can fly without a pilot in sight. Now, when you understand that the universe is mathematical, you know that everything in the simulation is not a coincidence, because all this is basically esoterically connected to Kobe Bryant, because we're in the year of the snake and he was the Black Mamba. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, they tweeted out this picture right here with a helicopter on Kobe Bryant's death anniversary, and telling y'all for the longest for about 2 years to stay off the airplanes, because scientifically, ionized particles have the ability to manipulate the photon light.
Y'all, the jet crashed with the Black Hawk in D.C. in 33. And how did he not see it? Watch this.
Command, the accident happened in the river. Both the helicopter and the plane crashed in the river. It's east of the approach end of runway 33.
Y'all see the flight path of the Black Hawk? We'll speed it up. Watch this. And Kennedy said this.
A well-known congressman just wrote me and said, off the record, I was this congressman was told. I mean, look at that response. I don't think we'd see that kind of response if something significant didn't happen here.
The Black Hawk's call sign was PAT, which stands for Priority Air Transport, which means it was our top official in there. Prayers for the families, for the lives that was lost, but I'm curious to see who was exactly on that plane.
What's crazier about the American Airlines crash? That there was a whole figure skating team lost in that, or the fact that this ain't the first time it happened. Back in 1961, a whole skating team was lost from a plane accident crash. And I don't like it. Now, before I continue about this, how this already happened before, and I don't know, please like and share this, because I know there are plenty of people that don't know that this crash happened before. Prayers to everybody involved. This is a touchy situation. I got so many questions. Like, how could that Black Hawk helicopter not have seen or known that that plane was coming? And why is a Black Hawk helicopter in the approach path at a commercial airport anyway? And if the initial reports are true, the helicopter didn't have its transponders on. That basically shows you everybody that you're there and everything. Look, I ain't saying it was done intentional, but I am saying it needs to be looked into. Let me know in the comments.
Y'all, something is not adding up about this crash that happened in Washington, D.C. Y'all need to take a listen to what this eyewitness said he seen before the crash happened. And then I'm going to tell you my input on why this is all suspicious. And once again, I want to give my condolence to everyone who was affected in this tragic event that happened last night at 9 p.m. But y'all, take a listen.
Tonight, I was just with my girlfriend at the park, at Gravelly Point Park, right next to Reagan National Airport, and we were eating dinner, you know, just as normal, taking in a nice view. And
watch what you say,
noticed the planes started having irregular patterns, and they all kind of dispersed from their regular landing patterns. And then we looked up in the sky before that, and we saw these white flare.
What do you think when you saw these white flares?
We didn't think much of it. We thought they were like shooting stars. I don't know. I couldn't really explain it, but...
So y'all heard what he said, right? It looked like shooting stars. So now I ask myself, I'm seeing the picture of the plane that crashed, but I was looking everywhere for the helicopter. I have yet to see any pictures of the helicopter that crashed into this airplane. So if someone's seen it, tag me in it, send it to my inbox or anything. I'm telling y'all, I have not seen the picture yet. And then, like I said, even if it was a helicopter, how does it happen? Air traffic control should not have let that happen. It don't make sense.
To believe that a Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines flight in DC's most monitored and secure airspace. Yeah, it sounds like especially when you just so happen to consider who was on board, which ironically were a lot of popular Russian personnel. Now, as if that's not fucking sketchy enough, you just so happen to look at the flight tracker, which I'll show you guys here in a second. But what I really want the attention to be on is where the helicopter took off from, which just so happens to be this address right here, which is 811 Lawton Street. And do you know what's located at that specific address? A whole shitload of properties that Saudi Arabian diplomats and scholars reside at. And when you just so happen to look at the specific owners, you might see that it's the Embassy of Saudi Arabia. Now, what's really interesting about this specific location, right, is the fact that one, a Black Hawk helicopter for fucking reason took off from this location and not only ignored air traffic control, but also flew directly into that airline. An airline of which 2 passengers were known to have tuberculosis on. I'm not specifically saying that that has anything to do with this scenario, okay, but there is a major tuberculosis outbreak that just so happens to be around that specific location in which that airline flew off from. So why wouldn't the US government utilize their good old Saudi Arabian buddies to take care of a potential crisis? Putting that aside, because that might just be a conspiracy theory for now, that specific location of which that Black Hawk took off from just so happens to ironically be the same exact location of which a Black Hawk that was rumored to be shooting people during the Las Vegas incident also flew off from as well. I believe that a Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines flight in DC's most monitored and secure airspace. Yeah, it sounds like especially when you just so happen to consider who was on board, which ironically were a lot of popular Russian personnel.